I'm not that sure that how many people are going to be live with me. It is very late, but I made a commitment. I was going to come to you every day live with tips, helpful hints, and otherwise for rising freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors. In this particular episode, we're going to focus on the rising senior and that college essay. We're going to dig into how to do that, how to give feedback to your senior, and how to manage that process. Hello again, I'm Phil Black, founder of PrepWell Academy, an online mentoring program where I try to help you give advice, help rising seniors, juniors, freshmen, sophomores make smart decisions about high school, about college majors, about careers, and about life. Now, writing that college essay can be a beast. So rule number one, try to support your son or daughter to get started. The Common Application is open. All the prompts have been open for 2 weeks now. They need to get rolling on it. This can be intimidating. Finding the right prompt to use for your own set of stories is important. We talked a couple weeks ago about brainstorming for different things that have happened in your life or your son or daughter's life to come up with a theme, to come up with something that's going to turn into a college essay. Let's assume that we've got that done. The next thing to do is start writing. You can only brainstorm for so long. So give a little prompt, give a little push, ask them how they're doing. It's important to get some paper, get some words down on paper. This is a tough thing for teens. They don't like the idea that they have to write things down, they're going to throw it out and start over and throw it out and start over. That's not typically what happens. But you're going to have to encourage them. Get a draft down and get some feedback. Now, should you be the person giving feedback? That's tough. I don't really know. Depends on how, what your aptitude for that is, or what your relationship is with your son or daughter. Is it a good relationship? Are they going to freak out if you don't like the idea? You don't want to be a yes person saying it's great, oh, it's perfect. So maybe it's someone else who reviews it, and we'll talk about what that review may look like. But somebody needs to give some feedback. They're not going to rewrite it for them. They're not going to make sure that your student uses their own voice. That's the big buzzword. It's got to be your voice. We know all that. But we want somebody to look at it for grammar, for syntax. How does it feel? What does it look like? So I'm going to give you an example of an essay that I just reviewed of one of my PrepWellers and give you an idea, if you or their parent, how you might want to think about this. It can be touchy. I'm obviously, one of the great things about PrepWell is that I am a third-party observer. I am an influence that's not their parent. So maybe they're a little bit more apt to listen to what somebody who's not their parent's going to say. So take this with a grain of salt. It happened to work pretty well, but keep it in mind because you may not have somebody who you trust to review that essay, and you should probably take a chop at it anyway. So this young woman, fascinating young woman, she wants to be a pilot. She wants to go to the Naval Academy or the Air Force Academy, which is outstanding, by the way. So she's got to write an essay, and presumably it's going to be about her aviation experience. So she sent me her first draft, and it was average. I wasn't blown away by it. And by average, I mean the grammar was pretty good, the syntax was okay, but I saw a lot of cliches. This is the big one here. I saw a lot of, I challenged myself. I wanted to be out of my comfort zone. I worked really hard. I sacrificed. I had to, let's see, what are some other standard ones? I had to really manage my time well. Whoa. Got a little, talk about managing my time, got a little battery, not working my battery time well. So there are a lot of those things that these college essay readers are going to read all the time, and they're going to be bored senseless. It's going to put them to sleep. So I highlighted and circled a bunch of those, and I said, we need to get more active than this. We need to get something that's less generic. If I saw this would not, to me, sound like a teenage girl who's passionate about flying airplanes, maybe even for the Navy or the Air Force. It was too bland. So I basically gave her some suggestions that were something like the following. I know that it was time management. I know that you worked hard. I know that you were out of your comfort zone. Everybody does that, whether it's a piano player, soccer player, somebody who's baseball player, debate team, all that stuff's the same. You want to be a pilot. You want to fly aircraft. You want to maybe even in the Naval Academy or as a naval aide, you may even want to fly off aircraft carriers. That is extremely unique, and you got to milk that for all it's worth. So my question to you, essay writer, is why? Why do you want to be why do you want to fly airplanes in the military? You've done a lot of it. You're a civilian. You've flown civilian aircraft. This particular gal has done a lot of flying. She doesn't have her license quite yet, but she's working on it. So what makes a 14 or 15-year-old girl want to fly airplanes? That is the question that I want to hear if I'm an essay reader. What is it? What is it about flying? What made you, as a 15-year-old woman, girl, step foot in a plane and fly 15,000 feet above the ground? I've been a Navy SEAL. I'm a firefighter. I've done some dangerous stuff. I don't want to get into an airplane and fly it. What makes you, as a 14 or 15-year-old female, what motivated you to do that? What does it feel like to be in the airplane? What does it smell like? What does it feel like when you lift off? What does it look like outside? What does your stomach feel like? What does it feel like to do this activity? That's what I want to hear in this essay. Is it the feeling of freedom? You're by yourself up in the plane, away from everybody else? Is it the fact that you don't have to go through TSA and see those guys and gals with the blue gloves and get patted down by them? You have your own plane. You're on your own schedule. What is it? Is it the fact that you're in control of your own life up there? You're not looking and consuming YouTube videos and swiping and taking 5 seconds here and 5 seconds there. You have to be present when you're flying an aircraft or you die. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear your motivation for getting up in that aircraft. The sky is a dangerous environment. There's not a lot of room for error. A lot can go wrong. Why is it? What gave you the confidence, the self-esteem to get up in a plane? To me, that's impressive. That's more impressive than being a good time manager to go to your soccer games, or really stepping up your game and working really hard. Yeah, I get that stuff. Everybody says that stuff. I want to know what motivates you, what you feel, what you see when you look out that plane, how you landed, what's it like to feel those aileron pedals, what makes you tick, what makes you feel, what motivates you to do this. So look at your son or daughter's essay. See if they're getting caught with all of these generic phrases, and if they are, go to what they're feeling about this particular event. What did they learn from it? Get away from generics, go to specifics. If you go back a couple, maybe week or 10 days, I also talked about one way, because a lot of times teens, especially teen boys, they don't like to talk about their own feelings. So if you look back a week or two, you can see a topic I talked about this, which was using essence objects to talk about your feelings by not talking about your own feelings, but putting those feelings on some other object that you have in your house sitting around, whether it's a baseball glove or a set of ballet slippers or whatever it is. So that's another option. So my final summary to you, talk to your son or daughter about how they're doing on that senior essay draft. If they're dodging you and they're procrastinating, try to use that parental influence to get them to put words down on paper. And when you get it, don't jam them up. Be positive. Give them constructive criticism, but let them know, hey, you're probably going to do this multiple times. No kid gets the essay right the first time around. In fact, I'm talking 7, 8, 9, 10 drafts. Make sure their expectations are set so they don't feel like after the third time they've rewritten it that they're done. Writing is hard. Writing persuasively is hard. It takes time to edit, to tweak, to change, and to polish it. That's part of the process, and they're going to have to do it over and over and over again. I wish you luck with this. This can be a touchy thing, but something you're going to have to work on with them and something they're going to have to get good at. These days, the essay can differentiate between two people who have all the other things that are the same. They want to know about the person, not about the hard work, not about the stepping out of the comfort zone. They want to know real stuff. If you like this, you know somebody who's going to be a senior, send this to them, tag them, and get them involved. Love to hear any questions that you have or comments or a way that you've talked with your son or daughter. I'd love to hear an anecdote about how your son or daughter is doing with their essay or topics for further discussion. Thanks for joining me. Sorry it's so late, but I wanted to get her done. And I have a feeling with the feedback that I gave this young woman that she's going to be turning and burning, getting another essay draft going, and I think she's going to get closer and closer and closer, and she'll nail it. See you tomorrow.